All right, so earlier today I posted a story on my Instagram page where I asked you guys to ask me some of the most burning dating questions that you have, and you guys delivered. So today I'm going to go through a few of them, so let's get right into it. All right, so number one, and this one I get asked at least a few times a week. Lion, a man told me it's 2023 and women need to pay 50-50. What are your thoughts? All right, so let me start by saying that whether it's 2023 or whether it's 1923, it doesn't really matter what year it is. Whether you're a man or a woman, I want you to understand that no one owes you anything. When it comes to dating, the entire process is supposed to allow you to assess compatibility with someone. So yeah, you want to see whether or not you're attracted to each other, but you also want to see if you're compatible. And one of the things, and an important factor of whether or not you're going to be compatible, is these values that we all have. So as you're dating someone, right from the get-go, from the first time you meet on the dating app and up until the first date and going forward, you're assessing whether or not some of your values align and how do they align. So if, for example, in today's world, you, a woman, would want to attract a potential man that has these quote-unquote traditional views, would they be more than happy to pay for that first date? Whether that's a simple, cup of coffee, or maybe that's ice cream, and maybe at some point when you go on a few more dates, maybe like a dinner date or something of that sort. And if you want to attract a man that has these values and would like to, pay for these dates, then it is really up to you to observe and see whether or not you're going to meet such a man. So let me tell you what I mean by that. If you are going on the first date, and I've mentioned that in some of the previous videos that I've done, that you as a woman should absolutely, definitely, and always, whether that's the first date or the 10th date, should always offer to pay on the date, right? At the end of that date, when the check comes in, right, I want you to just say these very simple words. Hey, I would be happy to participate. Let me know how much do I owe, right? You're not forcing yourself, right? And you're not forcing your credit card over his and pushing his away, right? Trying to deny him the ability to pay, but rather you are letting them know that you would be happy to pay your share if that's what they want to do. Because again, no one owes you anything, and you shouldn't assume that just because he's the man that he should pay for your date. Right? Do not feel entitled. Do not feel entitled. Trust me, it is not sexy, and you're not attracting men by that. This is where the compatibility factor comes in. Based on his response to your offer, you will know a little bit more about his values and his beliefs, and then you could ask yourself whether or not these values align with yours and whether or not you want to continue dating this person. So in one scenario, as you're offering to pay on the date, he might tell you, hey, I appreciate the offer. Thank you for the gesture, right? Thank you for offering. However, I got this, and I'll be more than happy to cover the entire meal or coffee or whatever that thing is. At that point, you know firsthand, while you have given him the option to say no, he is the man that has these types of values that you want in a potential romantic partner. He is someone that wants to pay on that date. At that point, if everything else also aligns, you can continue dating him and getting to know him. Now, in the off chance that someone might take you up on that and say, oh, thank you for offering. Yes, please, here is the bill. You can cover the whole thing, or you can cover your portion of the meal or whatever that thing is. Again, first of all, you should be more than happy to pay for yourself. And if you are dating, you should be able to do that as well. But as you are paying, again, ask yourself, does these values, right, and the type of man that you're with aligns with the type of person that you would like to attract into your life romantically? And if it doesn't, then just don't go on future dates. But don't expect people to just pay for your stuff. No one owes you anything. So again, whether it's 2023 or it's 1923, all right, no one owes you anything. And if you're going on a date, be willing and able to pay for it. Now, again, before you hear what I'm not saying that you should be dating these men, but I am saying that you should be offering and you should be able to pay if they ask you to cover your half. At this point, it is completely up to you, and it is your decision on whether or not you want to continue dating this person, because again, you have to assess that compatibility by seeing whether or not your values align. All right, number two, and this one is kind of a controversial one. Lion, how do you stay away from emotionally unavailable men? All right, so let me tell you something about emotionally unavailable men. I know that this whole term, right, is very, very popular these days, that everyone, likes to label other people or even themselves in certain situations as emotionally unavailable. Now, listen, there might be things in your life that might make it so that at this specific moment in your life or their life, building a romantic relationship might just not be a priority. That they might be or you might be preoccupied or focused on your career, on raising your children, or on school, on, your hobbies, whatever that thing is, on traveling, right? You could be preoccupied and you can be prioritizing a whole bunch of other things in your life that go above or well above your romantic life. Right? So you might not be, quote unquote, emotionally available to potentially date or potentially be in a committed relationship today. But ladies, let me tell you something. Although these terms are extremely popular today, 99.9% of the time, all right, it's just an excuse that we say in order to protect our egos. 99% of the time, when we label someone that we potentially started dating and they're not putting in the effort, when we label them emotionally unavailable, they're simply just not that interested in us. They simply don't want what we want with each other specifically. They might be more than available and more than willing and happy to potentially build a relationship with someone else. They're just not looking for that with us specifically. Now, again, the reason why we make up these terms is because we feel better. It's because it makes us feel a little bit nicer and fuzzier and warmer inside knowing that someone just is not emotionally available to be in a relationship in principle. Not with me and not with anyone else. But that's complete BS. Most of the time, they would be more than ready and more than happy to build a relationship with someone else. They're just not that interested in us that way. Again, they might be more than happy to, spend some time with us. They might be more than happy to maybe engage in that physical component with us. They might be more than happy to have us there when they have nothing to do and maybe even hang out with us from time to time. But it's really up to us to make sure that unless we're getting what we want out of that relationship, that it is up to us and it is our responsibility to walk away from that situation. Again, unless we're getting what we want out of it too. So if we want that commitment and we want that relationship and we have taken the time to get to know one another and we see that the other person is not on the same page, that they might be there, but they just don't want what we want specifically with each other, it is our responsibility and ours alone to get up and leave and find someone who wants what we want with us specifically. So again, I call bullshit on that whole emotionally unavailable stuff. Yes, while it is possible that dating or building a relationship might not be a priority right now, most of the time, by far most of the time, it's a simple case of they're not that interested in us. All right, this one is actually a really, really good one. I don't even think that the person who submitted the question realizes how great of a question this is. Lion, what is your stance on the guy you're dating liking every thirst trap going on Instagram, right? So they're following all of these, half-naked ladies on Instagram. Despite that, everything else is textbook perfect. He's consistent, he's clear, he's honest about how he feels. He can't get enough of me, wants to move things forward. He pursued me with intention, wants to people to know that we are dating, and he's prioritizing me always, right? Is the Instagram activity a big deal? All right, this is a great question. See, everything that you've mentioned so far, and I don't know if you realize this, right? But everything that you've mentioned, and this is a common problem, right? As human beings, especially when it comes to these dating situations, we're pretty self-absorbed, right? We're pretty self-absorbed in the sense that we really only care, right? And the thing that we focus on the most when we start dating someone new is paying attention to how they treat us. So are they showering us with compliments? Are they all about us, right? They can't get their hands off of us. They always want to see us. They're always texting us. They want to introduce us to the world. They're posting us on social media. And in that question, right, she listed a whole bunch of things that are all related to how that person treats her, right? Are they all about her, sure about her, compliment her, all of that stuff. One of the things that we often miss and is probably as, if not even more important when it comes to these early stages of dating, when you assess whether or not you want to be in a relationship with someone, right? Something that goes beyond just how they treat us is how they treat themselves. Do they have a healthy relationship with their body? Do they like what they look like? Do they invest in themselves? Do they, exercise? They eat right? They, They like what they look and they really invest in their, physical well-being. What about their finances, right? And they're investing in their career, like what they do for a living and all of that stuff, right? And they're investing in that area of their lives, right? Does that make them happy, right? How about their mind, right? Are they investing in themselves mentally, right? Are they educating themselves? Are they happy in general? Are they positive people, right? All of these stuff we completely miss because we're so focused on just how they're treating us that we forget to look at how they treat themselves. So when it comes to engaging with every thirst trap and following every, Instagram model on Instagram, right? This is what I talk about when I say, do they have a healthy relationship with their mind and with their body? Are there someone that has self-control and discipline and is able to practice delayed gratification? Or are there someone who's enslaved to their emotions and to their urges, right? So when they scroll through Instagram and they see, a very revealing post, they have to engage with it. They have to, right? So I want you to understand that the fact that someone would be, following every single, Instagram model out there, or when it comes to maybe pornography, or they consume all of that content on a regular basis, right? It has a lot less to do with you, right? And a lot more to do with themselves, a lot more to do with how they treat themselves, a lot more to do with their lack of character, with the lack of self-esteem, with their lack of self-discipline and self-control. All of these things you want to really be paying attention to when you're looking for a boyfriend, when you're looking for a potential husband. Because trust me when I say this, lack of self-control, lack of discipline, right, in that area or other areas of their lives is definitely going to affect your relationship and your ability to really form a good, healthy relationship. All right, so earlier this week on Instagram, I posted a video about how it's really important that at the early stages of dating, when you start getting to know someone, that you don't just come out there and tell them exactly what you're looking for, that you're looking for a relationship or that you're looking for, a specific type of behavior, right? And the reason for that is because you want to allow the person that you're dating to really show up the way they really are rather than follow a specific set of instructions that you have given them in order to win you over and potentially get what they want out of you. So instead of telling them what you want to see and hear and allowing them to use that information potentially against you, you just want to create an environment where they can just be who they really are. They can just be themselves and do what they want to do and not do what they don't want to do. And then as you're observing all of these words and behavior, then you can make a first-hand decision on whether or not this person aligns with you. And when I created that video, a lot of you, right, flooded me with the same exact question. Okay, Lion, so then what do I say to someone that asks me, right, whether on the dating app or maybe on the first date, what are you looking for? Now, I know that this question is something that we all get asked. Men ask this question, women ask this question. I think that this question is completely idiotic because this question does not really provide any sort of value and any sort of real information, especially at these early stages when most of us, right, if not all of us, right, are really trying to be on our best behavior and say and do the things that the other person kind of wants to hear and see. Because as human beings, we like to be liked. And we don't want to get into a confrontation or to a difficult conversation right off the bat. But I think that this question has just been asked so many times that most people just simply regurgitate it. Most people just feel like this is something that they need to talk about, especially if it is the first date and it's a little bit awkward and they don't know what to ask, so they just throw that question at the other person. What are you looking for? Ladies, here's probably the absolute best answer that you could give someone when asked that question. First of all, I would not recommend that you ask this question, and I want you to pay a lot more attention to their behavior and their actions rather than just basing your entire opinion on their words and what do they tell you at these early stages. But if they decide to come out and ask you this question, here's what you say. You say, hey, such an amazing question. I want you to make them understand that this is probably not the first time you're hearing it. But I want you to say that from a place of confidence and with a little sense of humor. Say, hey, what an amazing question. I'm looking to meet like-minded, amazing individuals, and I want to build genuine friendships with them and then see whether or not any of these friendships might potentially grow into something bigger than that. You see, you're letting them know that although the end goal, right, might be a relationship, right? Right now, what you are trying to accomplish right now is just meet a lot of individuals, is to create good conversations and to build genuine friendships. that sends a clear message of where you're at and that you do have boundaries around certain levels of intimacy, but you're not chewing the food for them. You're not telling them what they need to say or do in order to win you over right now. Because it's very difficult to fake, right, a genuine friendship. All right, so let's do one more. So despite our great chemistry, he doesn't want a long-term relationship. He still uses dating apps. Do I stop seeing him? All right, this question, or a variation of this question, is something that I get quite often, right? Someone who is seemingly, happy to hang out with you, someone that you have this, chemistry with, someone that you might be even, having a pretty healthy physical relationship, and you might both be really enjoying the ins and outs of that. Someone that you might be even enjoying going on dates with and doing activities with, but someone that, although you've been seeing them for quite some time, and when I say quite some time, I mean probably, months. So we're talking about like 5, 6, 10 months, maybe even sometimes over a year, right? And again, they seemingly are happy to be spending their time with you, right? But do not want to make it official, do not want to take it to the next level, do not want to build a long-term relationship with you. And they might be expressing that either through their words or their actions or some sort of a combination of both. Now, ladies, I want to remind you something, all right? That people connect with other people for a variety of different reasons. And some people are more than happy to be spending their time with you. They might find you attractive. They might enjoy certain aspects of your relationship, right? The fact that you can always hang out together, the fact that you can do activities together, the fact that you are maybe sleeping together, right? They might enjoy certain aspects of your relationship and might be, more than happy to continue this relationship as is, right? But they don't want what you want. And this is the entire point of dating. As you are dating someone, right, your job is not just to find someone that likes you, but your job, more importantly, is to find that compatibility. Yes, you want to establish and see whether or not that there's that initial, hormonal attraction, right, which is what that chemistry word that you refer to. But you also want to assess analytically whether or not there is compatibility, right, whether or not you have similar values, similar beliefs, and most importantly, whether or not you have similar goals, that you are trying to build the same type of relationship with each other specifically. And while it might take a little bit of time, a few weeks, maybe a couple of months to figure this out about each other, if you're going way beyond that threshold and you are finding out that although they're more than happy to hang out with you, but they are not looking for what you're looking for, essentially, they're not looking for the type of relationship you want, it is your job. Do not wait for them to release you. Do not wait for them to change their mind. Do not wait for them to, or nag them to a point where you think that eventually they'll agree and give you what you want. If you're not getting what you want and you have taken the time to really get to know one another, although you both might be enjoying this type of relationship that you currently have, unless you see that they want what you want with you specifically, right? And that long-term relationship, it is your job to call it quits, thank them for their time, and go ahead and find someone that wants what you want with you specifically. If you guys like this format, if you guys want me to do more Q&A videos in the future, let me know in the comments below. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.